Football Talks. I am Karina LeBlanc, head of women's football at Concacaf. And today we are joined by two phenomenal women. I can say I know them well. I've played against them. On the international side, they've beaten Canada many times. So professionally, I don't think every single time. So that's my little win here. But I want to introduce Heather O'Reilly, also known as Teo. Obviously, most of you guys will know she's retired, but she still is able to play to this day. One of the most capped women's players, 230, I believe, 3 Olympic gold medals, World Cup champion, played together at New Jersey Wildcats, gonna throw that out there. Retired last year, and I had the opportunity to see her on her last game live with North Carolina. Special human being, but most importantly, new mother to Will. And also we have Jessica McDonald, also known as J-Mac. I think she has 6 titles at the club level. Just take a bow. I think the key ingredient is you and winning a championship. Gave birth to her son Jeremiah in 2012. Interesting story and a comeback, but resiliency. These women are awesome. So excited to have them here today. Welcome, ladies, to Football Talks at Concacaf.
Thank you, Tina. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for the intro.
I know. I was just like, I want to just be you guys' hype women forever. But we are talking about the power of the women's game, the power of the game of football, or soccer as we call it in North America. How has the game impacted you into making you the woman that you are today? Let's start with you, Heo.
Oh, wow. Well, I know we want to keep this somewhat brief, so I'm going to have to try to give a brief answer. But for this question, I could talk forever, honestly, because the game has impacted me so deeply in so many ways. Before I started playing, which granted I was like 4 years old when I started playing, but I was very, very shy. I hid behind my parents, and I didn't want to talk to people. And I remember my very first soccer practice. I was in this random field in central New Jersey in my town of East Brunswick. And I remember my first practice because of the feeling that it gave me. And I loved being out there with the other little girls. For some reason, I was good, I guess, as a 4-year-old can be. And so I gained a lot of self-esteem and a lot of confidence from playing. And then it just kind of skyrocketed from there. And the game has allowed me to meet so many interesting people, to expand my worldview, to travel the world, to be part of this football family, not only my teams and my U.S. national team and my club teams, but for all of us that love this game and tune in for World Cups and CONCACAF tournaments and all sort of games. It brings us together and binds us like maybe nothing really else in the world. And I think that feeling of community has been really important to me. And really important to my growth as a person, and just giving me a lot of self-esteem. So and that's in addition to leading me to getting an education at the University of North Carolina, which I now currently work at. So the list goes on for how this game has impacted me and changed me, and because it has meant so much to me, I feel very inclined to give back to it, and almost a responsibility to give back to it, and leave it in an even better place than I found it. And so, that's why I am continuing to be an ambassador for this sport, even though I just recently hung up the boots.
J-Mac?
I don't think the boots are really quite hung up yet. They're kind of halfway there.
They're on a shelf. I can still get them down, but it's harder now.
Within reach. Yeah. Man, same as Heo. The countless opportunities that this sport has truly brought into my life, I couldn't be any more grateful. I guess at the time that I grew up, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. I was the only girl in the family. So we were always outside playing, technology. There was no technology when I was a kid. So we were just active kids growing up. It was me and all my boy cousins and my brother and just me, just this underdog. And I like to carry that underdog mentality into my career now. That's what I've always lived by, because I always had to prove myself with the boys, you know. I never want to get picked last when we played, you know, street football or like street hockey. So I truly believe that, you know, the competitive side of me and that underdog mentality has been able to, you know, transition, you know, everything for me into my adult life. And just being able to surround myself with such incredible people just growing up, and new people that I meet continuously all the time, you know, just because of my career has truly humbled me just as a woman. And so as a mom, I've been a mom, you know, 9 years out of 10, I've been a pro. So just being able to bring my son along the ride has been very important to me, so I can show him the countless opportunities that he can also have, because I also want him to be great at whatever it is that he's going to do. But, you know, just like Heyo said, I love giving back to the soccer community because of the countless opportunities it's given me. And I want to continue to give back and give our youth, you know, opportunities and sort of teach them the way to just not want to be successful, but to want to compete, to want to continue to surround yourself with good people. And that's exactly what football has brought me.
It's interesting that you both talk about community. You talk about, you know, the importance of the game. I mean, I used to be shy too, Heyo. Nobody ever believes it. But how the game changes us and who we want to be. Legacy, right? Heyo, you left the game. You left it, leaving it better when you left than when you came into it. You know, J-Mac, you're still playing. How have each other, I guess since you're both here, impacted who you are? Because I think one of the things is it's a sport of teammates, right? I mean, a lot of girls play this game for the social aspect of it. Well, what have you learned, I guess, from each other that have made you a bit better?
Cool. Oh, awesome. Oh, so I get to talk about Jess? Yay. Okay, so I've learned a lot from Jess. One, the way that she has, like she just spoke to, she has been a professional while being a mom. That has not stopped her. It probably only inspired her and propelled her. And that's been very inspiring for me and for other women that, like, they know that they don't have to choose, okay, do I want to be a mom or do I want to continue my career? Well, look at Jess McDonald. She did it both and made a World Cup team and won all those trophies at the domestic level, you know, and that's been like really, really impressive from Jess. Secondly, the thing that I think stands out is her making the last World Cup team. And, you know, she was a veteran player, sort of a late bloomer, I guess you can say, to the national team. And to me, that speaks volumes about her character and the way that she just like persisted. Times of, I'm sure, immense disappointment of being left off rosters or being traded, etc. She just persisted and continued to get better, and to see that rewarded in World Cup selection late in her career, I think was amazing. And I think that her son should be super, super proud of her, and I know that we all are. And then from a personal standpoint, from playing with Jess on the North Carolina Courage, she's such a selfless teammate, such a positive teammate, brings really good vibes to the training ground every day, and makes people around her better. And so it doesn't surprise me actually now, after meeting Jess, that she has so many domestic titles, because not only can she play, but she makes those around her better. So she elevates the entire team. And it doesn't surprise me one bit that they wanted her part of that 2019 team, because of not only what she does on the pitch, but off the pitch in like the dressing room, and just that positive energy. So yeah, very, very happy to talk about Jess. I have nothing but admiration for her.
Wow. You know, J-Mac, I've played against you for many years, and it's I think from the outsider watching you again, when we talk about you being a mother, and we talk about resiliency as well, because, you know, the leagues were folding and coming back. You just found a way to rise. So, hey, that was beautiful. So, J-Mac, you can respond to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I will never ever forget my first time training with Heather O'Reilly. I was at University of North Carolina, and she was prepping for one of the major tournaments. I can't remember if it was an Olympic year or World Cup year, and she came out and trained with us. And it's Heather O'Reilly, she's coming out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking cool. She's coming out and training with us. But before we even started training, this woman's over here doing like her own fitness, sideline sprint, inline jog, sideline sprint, inline. I'll never forget that ever. And here she comes, she bops into training, crushing it 1v1, and then we play short-sided. And of course her team wins, and I'm getting frustrated because I'm against her. I'm on the opposite team. But just seeing her work ethic and just like a hardworking person and player that she is, I'm like, dude, I need to replicate that. I need to, get my stuff together here. So I definitely admired her since that day. And obviously, like, she's on a national team for a reason at the time, and I knew she was always a great player. But you don't look at what players actually put themselves through to prepare themselves to obviously make the team, to be one of the world's greatest. And since that day, man, I've admired that girl big time. I've been a huge fan of Heather O'Reilly's, and just seeing the countless of trophies that she's won, my goodness. Only thing I ever wanted to do from that point on was follow in her footsteps. And I don't think I'm too far behind, and so definitely someone I've absolutely looked up to throughout, most of my career, being this underdog, and I love carrying that chip on my shoulder, but being able to be surrounded by incredible people like Heather O'Reilly, and being a teammate of hers as well, with the courage, just her bringing her experience of the game into our team environment. It's such a beautiful thing because it's not easy, kind of bopping into the courage environment. And, she smoothly came in, and her personality immediately just sparked within our entire environment. And I think it was absolutely amazing just to be her teammate and continue to see her shine. And I mean, off the field, she's just an incredible human being, just absolutely incredible. I have nothing but good things to say about Heather O'Reilly, and I'm just happy to have her not only as a teammate, but also as a friend as well.
Oh, let's just cue the tear ducts right now.
I know.
Honestly, I would attest to this with Heather being a teammate of hers at one time, and we got to cover the last World Cup where you won, J-Mac, in France together. I mean, I think one of the most beautiful things about her is that she really wants to make every environment better, and I think it's a testament. And yeah, we're talking about this right now on this, but I think one of the biggest things for the people watching this is to see the women that are in this game, the women who are almost obsessed with making it better, and it's made them better as human beings as well. And to move on to the FIFA reform that was just currently passed, our president, Victor Montagliani, is the chairperson of the FIFA stakeholders committee that made it a priority to set minimum standards for maternity leave and women play in the game, and giving them the opportunity to be mothers as well. How big and important was this? I'll start with you, J-Mac.
This was huge. I have goosebumps right now, even thinking about it. Man, this is something historical. And the reason why I say it from the bottom of my heart, I know I've been a pro for so long and been a mom, but it's also been a struggle. It's been a huge struggle. And that's because of the lack of support that we've had within our game. And I've seen countless of friends, man, a talented group of girls retire early 20s, mid 20s, because they wanted to be moms. They wanted a family environment. And, with our job, it just seems so impossible. But for me as an individual, I just wanted to be that walking testament that it's very much so possible. But with this type of support now, this is something historical, something very beautiful, and something just absolutely amazing, because every mom deserves it, no matter what career field you're even in. This shouldn't even been a question even asked. We shouldn't even been able to we shouldn't even been fighting for this. This should have already been given, And so with that being said, I just think it's absolutely amazing that, 2020, everything's just changing. And I think it's just moving in a positive direction. I think we're going to be seeing more moms, current, past, and future playing. wanting their dreams to come true while playing the beautiful game of soccer. So this is definitely a huge historical moment for all moms worldwide who want to be professional footballers.
It's fantastic. I know I was speaking with Heo earlier, and we were saying kind of when we played, I mean, we're a bit older, but it wasn't really as much of an option. You had to kind of choose between, do I want to play on the national team or do I want to be a mother? I mean, I was a goalkeeper, so for me it was a bit more difficult. I really couldn't play at that time. But Hale, answer the same question, but also now you're a coach, and this kind of protects coaches as well. How important is this?
It's hugely important. I think, even here in the U.S. where with the U.S. national team, I've had some teammates that have blazed a trail before me. I mean, you have players like Joy Fawcett and Christine Lilly, a lot of players that have had children and come back to the national team. So it has been done before. And of course, Jess is sitting here with us, but it hasn't been done very much. And I think that is because of this exact thing that we're talking about, but even if it's not said, it is a question that plays into people's minds, into the athletes' minds, into the coaches' minds, into even teammates' minds. If this person has a baby, will they be able to come back? Will they physically be able to come back? Are their priorities straight? Will they need childcare? All these things that might, without saying it, affect how we see female athletes, right?
Absolutely.
Affect choices. And I think something like this being passed, it's allowing a financial security that I don't think was there before. It's allowing a little bit of more of a comfort that you are being supported, that you will have an opportunity to come back after the child, that you can't be cut for being pregnant. And I think that like this way that we think about being an athlete or being a mother, for the most part, being a black and white thing, will, because of this reform, become a lot more gray area, and that's a good thing, because it clearly doesn't have to be in this silo of one or the other. And I think that this reform will make it so in the future it is organically blended, these two areas. So I think that it's huge, and I think that, like, in reflection, if I felt truly supported, and I know that people would say that, I was, but if I felt truly supported, maybe I would have had a baby earlier and come back and played and felt like my employers were behind that decision, And so I think that it's about time to make this shift, and it takes the leadership of FIFA, of Concacaf to be the leaders in this regard. And I think soccer can push society. So I think in this area, it's lagging a little bit, but it has an opportunity to use this as a real springboard and to really be a leader of society. So yes, a wonderful first step, and I'm so happy to see that it was passed.
Well said. J-Mac, you lived it. How hard is it to be a professional and a mother?
And it's two jobs that are just nonstop. You guys know what it takes to have longevity just as a professional athlete. When you go from training, you got to recover. That's cryotherapy, physical therapy. That's an all-day thing. I've always had teammates who can go home and take a nap. Oh my gosh, I was exhausted yesterday. I took like a 4-hour nap, and I'm like, wow, that must be nice. I haven't had a nap in about 9 years, So, but, it's really my kid that pushed me day in and day out, because I really wanted to make him proud at the end of the day. And that's kind of what sparks my fuel a little bit. But man, this is absolutely huge. This is absolutely clutch. Yeah, it's freaking hard. It's just two jobs all in one, and being a mom, it's nonstop. There have been phone calls that have been made while I've been in the middle of training, about my kid being at school, just nurses calling me and things like that. So it's a worry 24/7, just being a mom. It's always going to be a worry. And so being able to balance the two, it's been amazing to being an athlete my entire life, because I've always used sport as a coping mechanism. And that's what has helped me off the field as a mom. And then being a mom has helped me on the field, And so I just try to run with those two positivities, especially with the lack of funds that we used to have in NWSL. I used to struggle even finding a babysitter back in the day. There were times, my son would sit in his stroller on his own, the freezing cold in the middle of preseason, hoping he won't cry, So just trying to truck it along. But it's amazing to see women get that support now. And I hope and pray no one will ever have to struggle the way that I did. And, it's just absolutely amazing. And I'm rooting for the future moms who want to be pros.
Honestly, I think Heo and I are just sitting here nodding as new mamas, being like, wow, well done. Because, it's one of the most beautiful things you can do. It is hard. And to imagine having to play on top of it, it's kudos to you. The other big thing that's happened is we just released and launched our new women's ecosystem in the women's game at Concacaf. So we'll double the amount of official games that have to be played. We'll have our own Women's Nations League. Most importantly, for a lot of our members associations, I think the highlight is the home and away games that these women will get to play at home. How important is it in your career when you got to have a home game for an important game? Let's start with you, Heather.
Well, I think this is huge, and it's hard for perhaps us to talk about as Americans, because we have had a lot of opportunities to host sporting events. One of my earliest memories, and a memory that sort of propelled me and inspired me in my career, was the '99 World Cup that was hosted in the United States, and I got to see Mia Hamm, Granny Chesney, and all those stars play in my backyard in New York City. And it was I remember exactly where I was, who I was with, sitting in the seat at Giant Stadium, it was called back then, and looking out on the field and having tears in my eye and just getting emotional about how I wanted to do that, and how these women were strong and powerful and brave and all these wonderful qualities. And so I don't know if my life would have taken the turns that it did if I didn't get to see that. And it's so important to see it sometimes. But to us, that's been fairly normal. We've hosted a lot of big events. We've hosted a lot of friendly matches. Could we, continue to push the needle in certain regards and within our federation? Of course. But I'm thinking about all the countries in the Confederation that haven't had these opportunities. And so having the games could really shift the way that young girls see themselves, how young boys see young girls, and how generally society can progress. And I think that that's absolutely critical. And also, just more games is also a critical component of this. We, as a U.S. team, we have games frequently, but that's not the same for everybody. Sometimes it's just, around the big tournaments that they try to, somehow qualify, and that's not fair. I don't think that's giving this talent an opportunity to showcase itself. The world is full of equal talent, but not equal opportunity. And I think that this will level the playing field a little bit more, and give some smaller countries and countries that are sort of newer to the women's game an opportunity to play more matches and therefore progress the sport.
J-Mac?
How do I follow up on that? I'm just kidding. No, absolutely amazing. Absolutely. And like Heather Riley said, it's giving these women more opportunity. I know in other countries, women get treated differently than we do here in the United States. So that gives them more of a boss mentality. It will change the minds of little boys and even men out there, how they view and see women like, hey, we're just as strong. We can do this too. So for them to get more games and to be able to play in front of, their family and friends, that support alone is so important. And, I have people always asking me like, hey, like, what's something that you need, in order to be successful? And I'm like, okay, well, support first and foremost. You can't just do anything alone. So just to see your family up in the stands, it's such an amazing feeling. It truly is. Or even just people just rooting for you, just that support. And for this game to grow the way that it has been for women globally, that just shows you that we're continuing to get more support. And that's exactly what these third world countries who don't have, necessarily the same amount of opportunities we've had in the United States, but, it's getting there. And, this is definitely something historical and something beautiful, and I'm all for it. Obviously it has my full support. And so I can't wait to see how it's going to go from this point on.
Awesome. Holidays around the season. Do you guys have any traditions that must do?
Well, clearly, like this year has been a little bit wacky, so Christmas might look a little bit different this year. But I'm looking forward to having my little guy Will, who's almost 6 months old now, for his first Christmas. He won't understand too much, but with that comes he can't be demanding any presents or anything yet. So I'm sure that'll be really cute. I just got his first stocking and hung it up, and that was a really nice moment.
Yeah, that's. Oh my gosh. Normally I go home to Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I was born and raised. But this year with, the crazy amount of COVID cases has kind of kept us here at our second home in North Carolina. So we'll be here starting a whole new tradition. I have all of our stockings full, the dogs and all. I have 2 puppies, so they have stockings as well with some nice little treats in them. And Santa Claus is definitely going to spoil my little boy this year, and I'm super excited for him to open his presents that, he made a Christmas list for the first time in his life, because the kid's a very good reader and a very good writer, and he wrote out his list. So, it's definitely going to be a good one. Definitely, new tradition for us, but it's going to be great. We're going to make the most of it. So I'm super excited.
What advice do you have for everybody watching here as to either how they can help the game grow or just the importance of women's football?
I guess I would just say to continue to watch, continue to support. I know that sounds like an obvious one, but do your homework in terms of knowing what's going on in club football in the U.S. and in Mexico and different countries. Just kind of keep tabs on it more, and by that, I think that sponsors will recognize it, and TV broadcasters will recognize that there is a demand for it, and with continuing to show demand will increase the sport worldwide. So continue to watch, and if you want something, you have to make it happen. And so I think that's why we're all here, is because although we're super proud of where the region has gone and women's football, we know that it's nowhere near equal in so many regards. So keep demanding more, keep watching, keep following us, and let's continue to take this game to new heights.
Absolutely. Follow up what Heyo was saying. Support for sure. That's all the women need, globally. Just continue to have the utmost support. That's exactly what we're shooting for. And like Heyo said, I'm pretty much going to repeat everything she said. I mean, it's nowhere near to being equal, and that's exactly where we're trying to get it. And, the more we spread the word, the more support we will continue to get. So this is definitely a fight that we will continue to have as females, but we just want to pave the way right now for the little girls who want to be in our shoes one day. And so that starts off with support, and obviously spreading the word for everyone else's support. And so I just can't wait to see how big the women's game is going to continue to grow.
Last question, advice for little girl who may be watching us right now and can't believe they're actually hearing your words. What would you say to her?
Jess, I'll let you go first so then you can't say I stole your answer.
Okay, no, you're good. You know, a lot of people always want to talk about success, you know, and no one ever talks about all the failures and losses that have gotten them to their success. And realistically speaking, if there's anything that you want to be great at, just know that your life path isn't just going to be this straight line. There's always going to be adversity happening, you know, unexpected things happening. So it's going to be a little bit of a crooked line. You want to be a lawyer, there's going to be certain steps where you're going to have to become one. It's not just going to be an easy road. At some point in our lives, we lose, we fail. It's how you come out of those losses and failures what's truly going to define your character. That gives you room to grow as a human being, as an athlete, as a doctor, as whatever it is that you want to be. And without success, without failure or losses, there is no success. And that's how you grow. And so just continue to want to learn, want to grow, and push through the adversity, push through the hard times, because we all go through it. We're all human beings. We all go through those losses and failures. But when you come out of those, it's such a good feeling, especially when you succeed. And it's so worth it. It is so worth it.
Well, you ladies inspire me. You inspire women, men, young boys, young girls across the globe. So I want to thank you for your time today. I want to thank you for being that voice that matters, that encourages and empowers. And as Concacaf, we are so proud to have women like you represent us, the game, and everything. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you. Go be a mom. And you guys keep playing. I hung up the boots and I hung up the boots. So you can keep having fun and playing, but honestly, just keep being awesome. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Karina, and thanks for everything that you are doing as well. Really important stuff.
Absolutely.
Thank you.